Hey, what's up? It's Kay and Rain from Initiative Tabletop, and we just got back from Gen Con. Bet you can't tell.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff at the table, and we're really excited about it, and we wanted to get a video up just as a quick kind of recap of what we learned, what we found out, what we talked about, and what we saw at Gen Con Indy 2013 this year. It was a giant convention.
It was huge.
There was a lot of people there, bigger than last year, which is what they predicted.
Yes.
I think they said they were going to have over 40,000, 41,000, which I can believe that. As you can see, we have a lot of stuff over here. We've even got stuff all over the floor here. We came back with a lot of different things, and we're really, really excited to announce that all of what you see here is coming up in reviews. We will probably make an in-depth video about this a little later, kind of once we've got a schedule figured out. We will kind of do this is what we're doing this week, this is what we're doing next week, whatever. We'll probably get something set up and show you guys what we've got coming up. One of the things that I'm very excited about that we picked up was this here. A lot of War Machine stuff. We got a lot of War Machine stuff, a lot of Horde stuff, including High Command War Machine and High Command Hordes. We have a lot of that coming up, which is going to be rolled into a lot of the other videos that we want to be doing here for the site. We want to get up more videos on our YouTube channel, like Kay mentioned before, battle reports and things like that. So we're really excited to start moving into that. And let me move Cthulhu real quick. Something else we're going to be starting is Mercs, and I'll probably talk about that in another video, but good stuff is coming.
You can expect to see a lot of videos coming up.
So now that that's all out of the way, let's actually do what we started the video to do. Let's talk a little bit about Gen Con Indy 2013 this year. We got there on Wednesday night, set up for 4 days, 4 great, glorious days of gaming, and we had some interviews. So, what do you want to talk about first?
I guess we'll go with Aiello.
Sure, it's fine with me. Yellow is a company that's, they made King of Tokyo. That's probably what they're best known for. One of the games that was shown this year that I'm really excited for is the Phantom Society. And you know what? I'm just going to do this because I'm man enough to admit it. I'm really interested in Three Little Pigs.
Three Little Pigs looks really good for what it is.
And so, what is it that we talked about with them that everybody should know about?
There's a couple games that are on their way. They had one of them being demoed, Guardian Chronicles. It's supposed to have a Kickstarter by the end of the year. It looks like it's going to be pretty good. It seems to be
superhero game,
like a superhero game. You work with a bunch of other superheroes, and you are trying to defeat one villain. The artwork looks really cool. All new heroes. It's not based off of any existing set superheroes. It looks really cool.
It's kind of like Sentinels of the Multiverse-ish, but there's miniatures, so each hero comes with their custom deck, which will allow them to do different things, and they can move around the board, and they have to defeat the mastermind, whoever that may be. Artwork is amazing. The miniatures are even better. They look great.
Game I'm excited for. They only had the box there, which made me really sad because I kind of really wanted to try to play this game. They're going to be coming out with a game called Zombie 15. In Zombie 15, you are playing a kid who's fighting zombies. Why? Because for some reason, everyone over the age of 18 have become zombies.
That's not good.
The game is broken down into various rounds, and each round you only have 15 minutes to accomplish your goals. So you'll start a little timer, and what I like about it is it's much more real, I guess. You can't sit there and plot, okay, well, if I can get here, I'm going to move here, 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 and here, and I'll win. It's, no, you have to think on your feet like you would in the zombie apocalypse.
Right, and I think that's going to be something that's going to change up the kind of norm for that genre. So I'm looking forward to that.
Other games of note, I guess, a game called Steam Park is coming. You
Steam
create
Park
your
looks
own.
really cool.
You create your own little amusement park by purchasing rides, and you have to fill them with a certain number of people or little meeple pond type things.
Right.
And there is a level 1 of the heart ride, level 2 and level 3, and they all take up different areas. And by the end of the round, you have to count up how many people are in your park, are actually interested in it, and
so you score points. It's kind of like a resource management, somewhat like worker placement, kind of. King of Tokyo is still really big. They released promo cards for the game. They're really excited about what's coming up. King of Tokyo is definitely something to look out for. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, please do so. The game sold out very quick at Gen Con. Yellow was the only company that had the rights to sell it at the con, so it went very fast.
They sold out of almost everything.
Yeah, they sold out of, well, they gave away all the promo cards. They sold out of King of Tokyo, and yeah, they sold out of sold out of Phantom Society, and that's really great. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes from Yellow. They're a great company, and I just can't wait for Phantom Society. I'm so excited for that game. But for those of you who don't know, the Phantom Society is a game where players are on 2 different teams. So you have a team that plays investigators, and it's another team that plays as ghosts. And these investigators are basically ghost hunters that are trying to figure out where the ghosts are. So the board is laid out so that the ghosts are hidden in these circles, and the aim of the game is to flip over room tiles to try and find out where the ghosts are. But when you flip over these room tiles, you are basically damaging everything in the room. And if you get to a certain amount of damage is done, then the ghosts win, or the investigators have to find all the ghosts in order to win. So it's a really, really sweet game. I'm looking forward to it. So that's about it with Yellow. Mm-hmm. Next, I want to talk about Privateer Press, just because I love Privateer Press. I might kind of enjoy War Machine, just a little bit. So, High Command sold very fast. They had to have another shipment come in because they sold out of almost everything. In fact, on Sunday, when we were leaving the con, I noticed their pile of it was really small. People were walking out in droves. We got a chance to demo High Command. It's really, really fun. It's kind of a mix, what did you say, of...
If you were to mix Ascension and Smash Up, and theme it War Machine or Hordes, it's like that. And what I like about it too is, I mean, they kept it true. If you are playing Circle or Boros, your cards work like Circle or Boros.
Right.
So it's really cool. They did a good job with that.
Yeah, I enjoy it. The artwork is amazing, and it's got iconic characters from the tabletop miniatures game. Anybody who appreciates deck builders is going to like it. I think what is going to help this game redefine deck builders is the deck building. It's really weird to say that, but the way it works is that you choose which cards you're going to put together in your deck that you have to buy from through the game. So it adds a brand new level of strategy because each deck runs off of a color scheme, so you can only put certain colors in there. And you use resources which are, War
and Command.
War and Command. So some cards run off Command, other cards run off War. And we'll get into that more too once we get those up for review. You're going to like them. It's definitely something to keep on your radar. Something else that we talked to Privateer Press about is their War Machine Tactics Kickstarter.
Which went over tremendously well, if you've been following that.
Right. It funded in 35 hours, over $1.5 million funneled into the campaign, which is great. Hordes is coming to War Machine Tactics. That's a big thing that a lot of people were asking. Is it going to have something with Hordes? Is it going to be incorporated somehow? Yes. Something else about War Machine Tactics is the game should ship in August of 2014. But in April of 2014 is when the physical rewards should ship out. So if you backed it to get any of the extra sculpts, which you should have, because if you didn't, there was something wrong with you. Those are going to be shipping in April 2014. So that's War Machine Tactics. It's great. Check it out if you haven't already.
And Simon wanted us to say thank you on his behalf for everyone who helped with the Kickstarter. It went over really well. Also, new Horde stuff is coming. They didn't say when, and they wouldn't tell us what, but it's coming. So
a lot of you who play War Machine know that Converges of Cirrus came out, and it was one of the brand new factions for War Machine. And so a lot of people have been asking, it's kind of the same thing with War Machine Tactics. A lot of people have been asking, are we going to see something for Hordes? What we can say at this point, something is coming. Hordes players rejoice. Something big is coming. We can't say what it is yet. We don't even know ourselves. But something is planned. So kicking back to High Command real quick, both copies of the game, both Hordes and War Machine, were available at Gen Con for purchase. War Machine High Command's official release date is August the 28th. Horde's High Command doesn't come out until October, but if you were at the convention, you could go ahead and pick up a copy. Like I said, they both were selling really, really fast. Privateer Press does plan on having release events, which will have a lot of different tournaments, things like that. Players can pick up promo cards. So kind of your normal organized play for a deck builder. So that's going to happen, and there will be expansions coming to the game, though we don't know anything about those yet. But the company plans to support High Command to the fullest, just as much as it does its War Machine and Hordes miniatures games.
Absolutely.
And that's about it from Privateer Press. We're really excited to hear what's coming out from them. The Iron Gauntlet tournament went over really well. You can check out that video. We'll put a link to that in the description below so you guys can watch that. It was a very heated match. Signar versus Menoth. Menoth has a warm spot in my heart. So it was a really great match, and that went over really well. So we'll go ahead and switch gears to...
I'm going to talk a little bit about Asmati games.
Oh, sweet. The people who made Sanitarium.
Yes. I'm a big fan of Sanitarium. They did have available at the con. It was I hesitate to call it an expansion. It was an updated rules set for Sanitarium. They had it available for $1.
Right.
Can't pass it up. Clarified a lot of things that were a little unclear in the original rulebook. I did mention a little bit of that in my review. Something new that's in it, though, is they actually gave you a couple character cards. So you weren't just playing yourself trying to mask these phobias onto yourself. Now you can actually play a certain character who has some predetermined stuff going on, and they will react differently based on the cards that are attached to them, which I think added a lot to the game, especially for $1. So if you do play Sanitarium, I would definitely look out for this. The only thing it didn't include was updated rules for solo.
Those can be, I think those are downloaded from the Asmati game site, right?
Yes.
So you can still get those rules, but they just didn't come with the updated set. So
something else that is hopefully soon coming from Asmati, I'm pretty excited about this. They had a game set up for a demo called Consequential, and Consequential is supposed to be hitting Kickstarter soon. I think they said by the end of the year. Consequential is going to be a RPG card game kind of smash up that you are on an adventure, but there is a supplement in regards to video and audio. And these supplements will be released on a week-by-week basis. So the theory is as long as it gets funded and they can get it out there, when you open the box, you're going to see a few different sets, and it's going to say like week 1 through 4, week 5 through 8, and you're supposed to take the first box and you only look at that stuff, and you play like on a week, one night a week, or however long it takes for you to get your groups together. And there is voice acting that drives a lot of the story, people that you interact with and everything, and it looks cool. And a lot of the money that they're going to need to fund this is going to be for the voice acting and the apps and stuff like that. But I'm really hoping they can get this off the ground. When they get the Kickstarter up, I will be sure to let you guys know, because I'm going to be all over this.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. All right, so moving on, let's talk about Paizo. Paizo. Things were crazy for Paizo this year at Gen Con 2013. They had a giant booth. They had, the Goblins just released a little while ago. They're looking to release the Undead Horde miniature set, which I absolutely cannot wait for.
With their current set, they've produced over 200 unique figures,
right,
which is pretty cool, especially for those who are collecting. That's a lot of guys.
Right, that's with Skull and Shackles.
Mm-hmm.
Skull and Shackles is already available now, and it added a lot of miniatures that players just couldn't get otherwise, like for instance a Hammerhead Shark. Now, Hammerhead Shark's available, just little things like that players now can add to their collection. It's a big pirate theme for Skull and Shackles, which is players can get their hands on now. Undead Horde, however, is going to be releasing in October. It's going to be a builder series, and it's going to have 12 different figures in it. Now, when we were sitting down with Paizo, something that I wanted to ask, because I wanted to clarify it, there's the Pathfinder battles. You buy your figures in boosters of, I think, 4. So it comes with 1 medium and 3 small. Whereas the builder series is all a single unit, so a single miniature. So think of the builder series for Goblins, where it was a gravity feed where you would buy 1-to-1, whereas, for instance, the Rise of the Rune Lords was you get the little boxes with 4 minis in it. So just for anybody else out there that might be confused, it's the difference. So Undead Horde is coming. We got to check out the painted miniatures. We got to see them. So we'll throw up a picture for you right about now. So as you can see, these are really, really highly detailed. I love them. I'm a big fan of all the undead stuff, especially for a campaign that I want to run coming up. So, and
there are some new ones coming in with it, because a lot they were talking about how they didn't want to just keep bringing out zombies. Right. There's some new ones like the Grave Knight, Festrog, a White. There are a couple new zombies. There was a mummy.
The new zombie is really, really badass too, because the new zombie, it's thicker than the old one, and it's got a spear sticking through its chest. Yeah. So that's really cool. And the painting, I mean, obviously, it's highly detailed. It's really great. But perhaps the biggest news of the convention this year was the Pathfinder Adventure card game. Now, this is the first card game by Paizo. Mm-hmm. Sold out in 3 hours. 3 hours. Now, of course, that's still 3 hours, but the reason why it sold out in 3 hours and why it even took that long is because the line for this game wrapped all the way around the convention hall floor and out the exhibit hall doors because there were that many people who wanted it. Yeah. Luckily, however, people who had theirs pre-ordered still were able to pick it up even after they were sold out. So that was really great. And, this was Tom Vassel's #1 game from Gen Con, the one that he said would be his top pick. So a lot of people were liking it. We're definitely going to give it a shot. We've got it here, and we're going to see what it's all about. So if you're looking forward to the Pathfinder Adventure card game, keep your eyes peeled on our website because it's coming soon.
We were invited to a Wizards of the Coast press event. That was really cool.
It was so amazing.
They took the Indiana Roof Ballroom, which was across the street and down a couple blocks from the convention center. Mm-hmm. We took elevator up to the 6th floor, and they had completely redone the entire room into a city that you would see in Dungeons and Dragons. I believe they redid it into Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate.
And
it looked amazing. They had a bazaar. They had an arcade.
Ye old arcade.
They had, it was 2 stories. There were tables on the floor. It was open bar. Yeah. So it was great because we got to learn a lot of things that are coming from D&D this coming year, which I think is important. Pathfinder is a big, big, big thing in the gaming world. And, 4th edition, let's just face it, 4th edition was not something that a lot of players wanted. So a lot of the player base that D&D had left for Pathfinder. And then the one thing that 4.0 did do is try and recruit some new players. So I think they're really trying to revitalize the D&D name. And
I think they did that with D&D Next. They had over 150,000 signups for D&D Next, and it just based on what they showed, it's pretty obvious that it went over very well. So
right, and part of that you have to attest or attribute to the fact that all of these players who were unhappy with 4.0 wanted to have their voices heard. They wanted to say something about it, so they signed up for D&D Next to make it something that they want to see.
Well, and I also think something good that D&D is recognizing is they do recognize that a lot of people didn't like 4th edition and maybe didn't even want to give D&D Next a try. So the next big series that's coming out from them, Murder in Baldur's Gate, is actually being made available. You can play it in 3.5, 4th, and D&D Next, which is really nice because it'll cover any fan of D&D and still be able to include them.
It's going to be great.
There will be 6 new novels coming out in the Murder in Baldur's Gate, and with each novel there's going to be 2 unpainted figures. They're going to come with each book, so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool because they represent iconic characters from the Sundering. What this whole event is called is the Sundering. So it's a year-long event that's going to be taking place in D&D, in the world of Dungeons & Dragons, in the Forgotten Realms to be specific. So over this year, D&D, or Wizards of the Coast, plans to release a lot of different things, getting player feedback, and players are going to make their story legend. That is the tagline for this, make your story legend. And what you are going to do is you are going to help shape what happens in the Sundering. You'll be able to help steer it towards where it's going to go. And I think that's something really cool. I think this is something that some other companies have tried, and for instance, AEG, which we'll talk about in a little bit, does that with Legend of the Five Rings. Whenever they have their big tournaments, players turn the story, and that's really big in games. That's what we want to do as players, is help shape the story.
Some of the things that are going to be affecting the Sundering, there's a game called Arena of War. It is going to be coming to mobile devices, and they had a little play test available for it. It's cool. And it's going to be free to play, which is even cooler. So I think that's going to go over very well. Something I'm very excited about, they are bringing Lords of Waterdeep to mobile. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, this is from Playdeck. It's from the same people who have made or helped port the Ascension game and a lot of other tabletop games to your mobile devices. Playdeck is a great company. I think that they know exactly what they're doing. From what we were able to see at the press event, Lords of Waterdeep on the mobile device is just like it is on the table.
Yes.
Just like it is on the table, so you're not going to miss out on anything, and you'll be able to take your Waterdeep with you wherever you go. And to me, that's important. I want my Waterdeep, and I want it now, and I want it all the time.
Fans of Neverwinter, rejoice. The next section of Neverwinter is coming. It is called Fury of the Feywild. I believe it's August 22nd.
Right, it's a giant expansion. For the first expansion, I think it is.
I think so. I mean, with 2 million players, you had to start an expansion.
Yeah, and for those of you who aren't huge into MMOs, this is something you should check out. Kay and I were really big World of Warcraft players for a long time until Neverwinter came out, and we immediately switched. And this is something that is amazing. I think Cryptic has done a great job with Neverwinter. It stays true to the game, and in fact, even though we don't play 4.0, it uses a lot of the 4.0 rules, the player races and things like that, and the classes, but it is amazing. It's got a great set of graphics. Player versus player is one of the best I think anybody has ever played, and Cryptic and Wizards are doing a great job of making sure this culminates into a game that can live on and outlast where a lot of other games have failed. And Fury of the Feywild is going to add a lot to what is already there. So give Neverwinter a shot. Check it out. From Cryptic and Wizards of the Coast, let's go to Cryptozoic.
Yep. I'm excited. The next Lord of the Rings deck building game, Two Towers, is set to come out on August 28th as well. Something that's really cool about this one is all of the cards, all the character cards have been updated, including Frodo. Frodo does not start with the One Ring. The One Ring actually starts in the pass until you pick up the Frodo companion, the ally from the center row.
And it makes sense because it symbolizes what happens through each story. You know, in the first story, Frodo was the ring bearer. He was chosen. The ring stuck to him, stayed with him. And in the second movie, it's not like that. The second story, it's not like that.
But a big thing in this is there is a set of cards that you play along with it called wall cards. And now, by the way, ambushes can happen on allies and artifacts, which is kind of terrifying. You will take the wall deck and you take a certain number out depending on how many people are playing. And a lot of the ambushes will say you must draw a wall card, and some of them are no effect, some of them make you discard cards from your hand or from your deck. It's kind of crazy. It's very scary.
It is, because it symbolizes, you know, when Minas Tirith gets attacked, which is the big part of the second story. So that's definitely something to look forward to. And I think Cryptozoic has posted some images of the new cards and things like that on their website and on their Facebook page. So give those a look if that's something that you're into.
Something that I liked as well, the rule book actually very specifically states that you can combine the two sets together. And in fact, a lot of the cards from the Two Towers game go really well with some of them from the Fellowship of the Ring game. And in the book, it actually gives you a breakdown. It says, if you'd like to combine these sets, we recommend you take the artifacts, allies, locations, and whatever from this deck and combine it with these 4 items from the other deck and mash those together, which I think makes for a really fun gameplay.
Because that's what people are going to do. You get the Two Towers and you're going to want to combine it with the Fellowship of the Ring. You want a nice big experience, and that is what Cryptozoic has been able to do. They've wanted to make something where players could do that, and I think they've delivered on it. So
it does make me wonder what they're going to do with Return of the King. What are they going to throw in there? We're thinking something that has to do with the Battle of Fields of Pelennor.
Well, it has to. It just has to.
There's going to be something like that.
The one Gandalf the White to rule them all, I think, is what it's going to be.
The one.
So anyway, I'd like to switch over to AEG. We mentioned this just a little while ago, but AEG had a lot going on this year.
Yes, they did.
They had quite a big booth set up as well. They had Trains. Trains was available this year.
Which sold out on Thursday, by the way. They had to get a restock.
Right. Trains was very well received so far. They released a lot of smaller games, for instance, Card of the Dead, Agent Hunter, Maximum Throwdown, Straw. Just little games like these, you know, just smaller games for quick play. That they're trying to push that, and I think that's great. I've played all 3 of the... Actually, I've played all of them, and all of them are great.
They also had the Smash Up Cthulhu expansion, so you're going to be seeing that soon. Just saying. Something I was excited about, Love Letter. I've heard nothing but good things about it, but hadn't played it before Gen Con, and sat down with Todd Rowland at AEG, and he taught me how to play it, and I'll try not gush too much, but for a game that only has 16 cards, probably one of the funnest little card games I've ever played.
Now, Love Letter is a card game that tons of people love. It has been rethemed a million times by people, especially on Reddit, on Board Game Geek. They have just rethemed it, made it print and play, and made it available for anybody to check out. And this is a game that I think has endured. It's on its 4th print run, and each print run after the first has been bigger and bigger and bigger, and they are still running out of copies.
Yeah, they're almost out of this 4th print run. They did not expect this game to go off as well as it did, but I mean, they're certainly running with it because people are still wanting it.
Right.
Something I'm also excited about, if you know me, you know I love Smash Up. Even though the Cthulhu expansion just came out, they are already knocking around some ideas for the 4th. They're thinking it's going to be a sci-fi drive-in double feature kind of theme. Specifically, their ideas right now are time travelers, shapeshifters, cyber monkeys. I mean, who doesn't like cyber monkeys?
I need a good old cyber monkey.
Spies, stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited to see what they're doing with that. And they wouldn't really give us much, or I'm not, maybe not wouldn't. They couldn't really give us much information on the next one, but they are knocking around the 5th expansion.
Right.
So that's
so,
coming too.
and of course they're pushing forward with Legend of the Five Rings. It's a trading card game, collectible card game, whatever you want to classify it as. And it's gone over really well. They are still pushing the RPG for the game. They are going to be coming out with starter sets for the new, or starter packs for the new set that's getting ready to release. They're all going to be in their own collector's tin, and the sets that are out now, they come in their collector's tin, so it's just awesome because it's more stuff for the game if you're into it. So that's really good, and everything else has just been a giant success for them, and we're looking forward to playing some more of these games, and I know you guys are looking forward to seeing them, so we're going to get those for you very soon. But on a closing note, to kind of round things out here, let's talk about Game Salute. Now, Game Salute is a giant publisher who has a lot of games under its belt. They do a lot of Kickstarters, and at the same time, a lot of those Kickstarters have been successful. Mm-hmm. They've done Kickstarters for games like Exile Sun, Chaos and Alchemy, and a lot of other games that have they're great. They look great. And one of their biggest names this year was Pixel Lincoln. Pixel Lincoln is a deck building game that has a very, very special place in this heart of mine. I played it last night, finally got to bust it open, and being a gamer on both sides of the tabletop and video side of things, this game is just amazing. I love a lot of things that just don't make sense, and this game has it all. It's got mutton on a chain, beer meringues, sausage link whips, chicken cannons, and probably the best thing of all, puking turtles. That's right, folks, you heard it here from Initiative Tabletop. In Pixel Lincoln, you can shoot chickens out of a cannon at puking turtles. Now, if that did not just sell you the game, you need to get out of here. You need to stop watching this video, because that is gold, my friends.
Sausage link whips don't make sense?
They don't make sense. They don't.
No.
Because the reason why they don't make sense to me is because I wouldn't let sausage on a chain lie around long enough to be used as a whip. Have you guys seen me lately? It's not like I skip out on the sausage links every now and then. Anyways, so they had a lot of great stuff going for them. Heroes of Metro City released, and they are pumping that, and it went over well at the convention as well. And they have a lot of other stuff that's just kind of, a lot of people feel like it's hit and miss. So, you know,
Nothing Personal was another release recently that came out. They were really excited to be pushing that.
That game was made, it was co-created by Tom Vassell, so.
For people who are interested in the Princess Bride games, we announced earlier in the year that they were planning on doing a series of games, and at that point there wasn't really a lot of information as to, are these going to all be individual games released at different times, or what's going on. I found out what you're going to be getting is they are trying to put together a bunch of mini games that all follow a story. So the idea is, hopefully when everything gets funded and everything goes through and gets designed, you're going to get a big box that's called The Princess Bride, the game. And when you open it, there's going to be 5 to 6 mini games inside of it that will go with the theme of the movie and of the book. And so I think that's really cool.
Each game is going to have its own kind of thing, whether it be a card game or a dice game or whatever. We don't really have a lot of the details yet, but the way that they want to do it is each game is going to come with a specific card for it. Mm-hmm. So let's say you sit down and you don't know which games you want to play, or you want to mix things up. instead of pulling the actual games out of the box, you'll take the cards for the games out, shuffle them up, and maybe deal 3 and flip them over. Well, it looks like we're going to play the dice game, the card game, and this game tonight. So it's really cool that they're incorporating that, and I'm really excited to see it. I'm not a huge fan of The Princess Bride, but you know, the Princess Bride Prepare to Die game was pretty funny. It reminded me of something like Cards Against Humanity, which is hilarious. Yeah. And so I really think they're going to have a winner on their hands with this.
Yeah.
And of course, you can expect to see more Kickstarters coming from Game Salute towards the end of the year. They have successfully funded a lot of their campaigns they've set up, which I think is great. I think Game Salute is a company that can attest to not only being able to get your ideas heard, but I think they can attest to the success of Kickstarter as a whole, as what it is. So that's really great. But I think that about wraps it up for us. Keep an eye out on our website this week. We have the podcast going up later this month as well, where we're going to sit down with Jacob and Christina, as always, and kind of talk about our own personal experiences at the convention, what we liked, what we didn't like. But in the efforts to not make this video take up all of your work day, we're going to go ahead and sign off. So as always, thanks for watching, happy gaming, and we'll see you next time right here.
See ya.
Bye.